So the soul is shouting out, help me. This is how it's calling out to the rest of the self that makes the whole, to bring your attention and your awareness to the soul, the energetic body, what's going on inside. So, as I said, with prolonged feelings of sadness, the thoughts that are going through your mind, this can then impact the body into you start to feel tired in yourself. You start to feel your body's not absorbing nutrients properly. Your eating habits may change. You may start wanting to eat more. You may start just going off food a little bit. These are all little signs that the body starts to scream out to you that there's something going on, there's something not right, there's something that is impacting the soul on such a level of its happiness. Okay? So these are indicators for you to try and start to understand the self as a whole, so that you can help yourself as the complete one being. So all of these things make the one person. You know, they act on 3 different levels, but they all make the one. So in another sense, if the soul is being fed plenty and the soul is on quite a happy level and the soul feels peace, this in turn means that the mind is in a good place. It means that the body is in a good place. And even if the body is not in a good place, the mind has learned to cope with that, and hence the soul is content with that. Okay? So now let's think about ways that we can help each one of our 3 cells that make the whole. How can we feed and nurture each element of ourself that makes the one self, so that we are balanced, so that we are not out of sorts? Now you have to think, this is difficult in everyday life. We are faced with everyday stresses, just getting to work on time, whether it's if there's anything going on within the family, whether you happen to be in the supermarket and an argument takes place in front of you, and how you feel about being near that and witnessing the actions of other people, certain things that are on the TV, the things that are going on the news and the media and all of this. Like how do we maintain this balance so that we're not being affected by all of that as well? And this is something that over time in your own development, you will learn to build certain strengths in becoming more detached to certain dramas that go on. And this does not mean not caring. It just means detaching from the chaos of it, so that you're able to feed positive light and energy into it, rather than adding to the darkness with your own, oh my goodness, this is so terrible, and becoming panicked and fearful of what that might mean for you, what that means for these other people. It's staying in a good place within the self so that you can give the best of yourself. So how can we nurture each element? Well, the mind, for example. We work on keeping the mind in a positive state. We work on ourselves to be able to cope with different situations and scenarios in a more positive way that don't go on to cause as much stress to the body. As in, whether you're going to allow yourself to get heated up in an argument, the way that your mind, sometimes we judge other people, and that judgment makes us feel like they shouldn't be doing that, they shouldn't be acting in that way. I had it myself just the other day, where whether it be judgment or just a soul level, knowing that this is just wrong on so many levels. When you see parents really swearing to their little children and not being very nice, then that is something that personally I have to really, detach. I mean, obviously if I saw or felt anyone was in real danger at that moment. But for some people, this is just how they choose to raise their families. And it doesn't necessarily make them bad people. Maybe they're just not making positive choices in life for whatever reason. Anyway, so even the way in that we judge other people. So if we live our lives in a certain way and we have certain beliefs and certain understandings, certain values, and then we witness other people who have a different set of beliefs, different values, different understandings of the way they think life should and shouldn't be, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And for some people, that can be quite disturbing. It can really annoy some people that, that's just wrong. They shouldn't be like that. You should do this. And they might try to talk sense into that other person. And then they're going to get even more frustrated because that person's probably not listening. And they also, it's making themselves ultimately feel inside stressed out because the world and everybody else is not living how they live. I mean, believe me, when I was first starting this journey of my spiritual awakening and my deeper understandings, and the greater my light has become, and I see from, I see with such compassion for so many different people that a lot of people might really struggle to see with compassion for. There was a time, a certain transition when I was going through, that it just felt like, why can other people not see this? How can we be so cruel? Why does it have to be like this? You look at the state of the world and the way that different people are, and sometimes you scroll down your news feeds on Facebook and the kind of things that some people are saying, their beliefs and what they think is right and wrong, and it can pull you down. So your mindset and not getting too drawn into other people's drama, not running away with the idea that people should be the same as you in any way. Accepting each other, just learning to accept each other for who they are, no matter what their beliefs, and just understanding that, we all come from the same place, whether you think or believe it or not. You have that inner wisdom, you have that inner knowing. Let that be your mindset, and nothing needs to disturb you, really. Though it does, I know, I'm human too. But most of the time, if we try to live our lives that way. And how can we help ourselves? Trying to be positive. Every negative thought, trying to put a positive spin on it. Just recognize within yourself when you're being of a negative mindset, and try to either mute it if you're just not feeling in a place to bring yourself up in a higher resonating thoughts, or just recognize it and stop yourself and start to bring the positives back again. We can read books, we can listen to music, we can meditate. These are all ways that you're feeding your mind as well. Okay? And the body, well, we've talked about, what we eat. What we eat and drink is the main thing in nurturing and loving the body, because, like I said, it impacts massively the mind, which then impacts massively the soul. So what we eat and drink, that whole term, what you eat, what you are, what you eat, it's so true. Things like alcohol, you might just have the one drink the day before, but most likely that has affected you chemically, that even the next day, whether you have a hangover or not, it's still affecting you on some level. It's still prohibiting you from being your true self on some level. Alcohol is a big one for that, actually. And caffeine, again, as well. And exercise, having movement in the body. If you have freedom to move your body, then move your body, no matter how tired you feel. If you have certain aches and pains, yoga is an amazing food for the body. It's incredible at oiling our joints and realigning your spine. Yoga massively impacts the mindset as well. whenever I've done yoga in the morning and I've had some kind of doctor's appointment in the past before, and I've sort of gone to the doctors, they've done my blood pressure, I guarantee the doctor kind of looks at me, you feeling okay? Because my blood pressure is always so low. Well, I have quite low blood pressure anyway. But when I've done yoga, it doesn't affect me. I still feel fine and I'm functioning, but I'm peaceful, and my body feels peaceful. My mind feels peaceful. And chemically and biologically, it massively reduces my blood pressure as well, along with the meditation, which we're going to get to when we come to the soul in a moment. So moving your body, keeping it supple. If you can just do gentle movement, then just do gentle movement. And it's also how it makes you feel within yourself as well. And it's not necessarily about the way you look, whether you're fat, thin, tall, short. It's not really about that. It's about how you feel. Now, I know for myself that my body weight can fluctuate from one day to the next, where I have a bit of gluten allergy as well. If I've slipped up and had a bit of gluten one day, guaranteed the next day my body swells up like a watermelon, because that's one of the reactions I have. And if I'm feeling quite bloated and heavy and puffy, my clothes might feel tighter on me, and I sit there and if I've overeaten and my tummy feels quite swollen, I sit there and I feel like I'm crushing my tummy. I just don't feel comfortable. In myself, I don't feel comfortable. So and also for me it's about feeling that sort of core strength as well. When I'm just doing my everyday activities, when I'm in a fitter state, which I don't always take the time to, I admit, I'm no super being, but when I do take the time to do some regular exercise, I feel it greatly within myself, and I just feel stronger, and it makes all my physical actions of the day feel that little bit easier, as long as I haven't strained any muscles in the process. But it just makes everything feel that bit easier because my body's stronger and able to cope with it. So yeah, for me, exercise is, I enjoy it whilst I'm doing it. I'm giving time to myself and I'm nurturing myself in that positive way whilst I'm exercising. And I know that it's also feeding my mind in a positive way and feeding my soul in a positive way. So food, drink and exercise, be mindful of all three of those, and it will enhance the mind, and it will massively enhance and nurture the soul as well. So the soul, okay, how can we feed our soul to help all of this? Key thing here, meditation. Life can be so busy and so stressful and erratic, and we either feel that come the end of the day we're too tired to meditate, come the middle of the day I'm too busy to meditate, early on in the morning my brain's still not awake enough to meditate. We'll always find these excuses, a lot of us, so that we don't have to meditate. And you know what? The biggest, most beautiful, precious thing you can give to yourself, the time that you can give to yourself, is what you can give through meditation. This is dedication. This is true dedication that you're giving to yourself, okay? And it massively feeds the soul. Just being within that stillness, it can help everything to slow down through gentle breathing. It can help everything to slow down so that we become aware of the self, aware of our feelings, aware of our emotions. It helps us to become aware of the things that maybe have been stressing us out. It helps us to become aware from a more relaxed stance of certain imbalances that are going off in our lives. Whether that form of meditation is sitting in absolute stillness and blanking the mind completely, or whether that meditation is just kind of sitting in a bit of daydream, just sitting on your armchair and having a bit of a daydream, helping you to work out the future, or dreaming how you'd like your future to be, maybe reminiscing on some beautiful, event of your past that made you feel good, whether it's just sitting within your own thoughts and stilling the mind for a moment, breathing and becoming calm, lifting your vibrations, and then looking down at your life and seeing what's going on from a slightly detached level, so that you can see, okay, this is going on in life that's not making me feel good. This is going on in life that makes me feel good. This is a certain area of life that I'm feeling confused at the moment. You can address each one of these areas of your life from this slightly detached and calmed state. And never forget, you can also call in the angels to help you to work through some of that, to help you to understand it, to help you embrace it. Sorry, I'm just being told something as I speak here, that massive Kuan Yin has just come through to me. She's a wonderful goddess who works through compassion and massively with forgiveness, whether this is forgiveness with the self and forgiveness with others. And she's just telling me that at this time, and she's not just talking about today, she's not just talking about this week, but at this time overall, we are so wrought with things that we feel guilty for, with guilt. Whether it's like we start to take on guilt of events that are happening in the world that we have no control of either. We are taking so much on our own shoulders at the moment. Not only are we dealing with our everyday life and what we are going through, whether that's then having to experience certain situations with certain people in life and then struggling to let go and to forgive those people that have immediately upset us or somehow disturbed our inner peace, or even hurt one of our loved ones in some way. There's also things within us that we also feel within ourselves. Maybe we could have approached this a little bit better. Maybe I should have done this on that day. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. These ways in that Kuan Yin is saying to me right now, these ways in which we self-harm ourselves. And all of these negative thoughts and these guilty emotions that we carry, she's calling a form of self-harm. And we can be very destructive with ourselves through this self-harming that many of us do day in, day out, without even being consciously aware that we're doing it. And that, that is going to be a massive indicator as well. That is going to be, sorry, I have Kuan Yin with me, and at the same time as I'm speaking to you, being aware of our emotions helps us to see which elements of ourselves need some attention, need some repairing, need some working on, some development, whether that's biologically, physically, or with the mind, with the soul. Each and every one of you listening to this right now, Kuan Yin is saying to me, you all have some massive healing to get through. Honour yourself, honour your soul. Go within. Have a look. Which elements of yourself need some repair? Need a little bit of touching up maybe? Don't ever feel bad. These were all part of your experiences. Don't carry any guilt for anything of the past. Let it go, learn from it and move on. Through meditation, we can bring ourselves this peace. Through feeding the mind of positiveness, of knowledge, of wisdom, we can bring this to our soul. Okay? And with nurturing our body is the temple. We are feeding both the mind and the soul. So there you have all that come into alignment into one, the three that make the one. They are three very separate elements that are operating this whole. So learn to work with each one to bring balance to them all, to bring balance to the self. Meditate, eat well, drink well, smile, have fun. Don't be afraid of the darker times. Just learn to work through them as positively as you can. And look after yourselves. Let the angels help you, nurture you, guide you. Ultimately, be happy and learn how to be happy in the best way that makes you happy. I hope that video helped you a little bit, and I'm getting a very strong pull now to go into meditation with Kuan Yin, where I'm going to share that meditation with you also. Many blessings. Love you lots, all of you. Earth family.